Namaskar, Sat Sri Akal, welcome and adab. You are listening to Bharat FM, a one-of-its-kind, multilingual, eclectic provider of entertainment, information and news to Indian Americans. Headquartered in Cincinnati, Ohio, Bharat FM airs shows out of Cincinnati, Chicago and Phoenix. We take pleasure in our ability to cater to your bhakti, chusti, sfurti, shakti and masti needs with our audio and visual shows. Check out bharatfm.com for our online program schedule and archives. I'm sure the content will definitely tickle your senses. Tune in via the 24-hour web streaming on bharatfm.com or via the Bharat FM app. More information can be procured at 513-488-5070.
This is Bharat FM.
बजेगा भारत, झूमेगा भारत.
ये है भारत FM.
बजेगा भारत, झूमेगा भारत.
Hello and welcome. Thank you for connecting with me for another cause today. As we grow up in India, many of us take for granted the Indian culture and traditions that are such an integral part of our life. But the values that we learn from them during our upbringing are what shape our personalities and help us live a happy and successful life. So once we are outside of India, whether it's USA or any other country, we as young parents find it a little bit challenging to have our kids grow up in a similar environment, getting those similar values. So our guest for today is Ven Swaminathan, who is actually doing an incredible job with his organization called Youth Group for Indian Culture. Come on, let us all welcome Ven to our main screen here, to our program, and let's listen to Ven about his journey with Youth Group for Indian Culture, which is also called as YGIC, here in Dayton, USA. Hello, Ven, how are you?
I'm good, Vijaya. How are you?
Good, thank you, and welcome to our program.
Thank you.
So to our viewers in India, I refer to you as Ven, but your name is Venkat. Venkat Swaminathan.
Yeah.
So very
Actually,
nice.
it is a Venkat Ramani Swaminathan, and I go by Venkat Ramani, so I can hide.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's always so interesting to know about how our Indian names also get changed once we are outside India, you know. So that is probably one of the things that tell how it is not easy to be as Indians once we are out in the global platform. We have to adapt a little bit, but at the same time, you know, we have to still try and hold on to our Indian values, our Indian background, try to pass it on to our next generations. So I hear great things about you, Ven, and I hear great things about YGIC. So it's such a pleasure to have you today on our program.
Thank you very much, Vijaya. It is a pleasure mine. Pleasure is all mine. It's a beautiful Memorial Day weekend in Dayton, Ohio. The weather is beautiful at 75. And I want to give a shout out for the Memorial Day to all the troops, thanking them for their service. I'm also want to say a word of, India is going through the pandemic, and our heart goes out to them. And I'm sure every one of our families are struggling with somebody or the other back home in India. And it's not the best of the time, but I'm sure that this shall also pass. So I just wanted to remember all the families in India from US.
Yes, thank you so much for doing, Ven, for doing that, thinking of our veterans, thinking of our military personnel here in US, as well as our folks and friends and family in India. As you mentioned, it is a very critical time for all of us Indians. Many of us live far away from India, but our hearts are with India at this time. So I appreciate you bringing that up. And one of the reasons that we continue to do these programs is to keep folks more inspired during these challenging times. You know, this is not the end of life. We still have to somehow go through it, and we are all hopeful that we'll come out of it. We have lost many dear ones, unfortunately. However, we still have to stay strong, have that hopes alive within us. And I guess that is where the human spirit lies, you know. So we all have to push through together, and let us continue this program with that spirit, with that prayer for everybody who's facing a tough time. And let's keep inspiring each other. So everyone here who is tuned into the program, as well as everyone else who can watch the program later, feel that inspiration and feel that connection with each other virtually. And once we are all out of this pandemic, we can all, you know, make great things happen again. So thank you, Wayne, for doing that. And let me quickly give a brief introduction about Wayne to our audience here. So, Wayne is an engineer by profession and an entrepreneur, serving the and many niche industries using manufacturing technologies. Social entrepreneurship is a passion for him. So, let us hear it directly from Wayne. Would you please tell our audience a little bit more about you, if you'd like to add anything else other than what I just mentioned, and also about how this whole idea of youth group for Indian culture came about? And I will give the floor to you, and please take it away, Wayne.
Okay. Thank you very much. There is nothing special to say about me. I'm just another guy like all of us. And I face the same challenges like everybody. And when we face a challenge, look for a permanent answer and a systemic answer which will solve the problem once for all. See, I'm in Dayton, Ohio, landed here in 1992, September 1st, almost 30 years ago. And I've been going to temples since then. Here, a beautiful temple is there in Dayton, built in 1985. We all go to, and a pretty family atmosphere. Small community, has grown from probably initially. I was told the first people I met, like a Dr. Joshi or Dr. Rangarajan, they were all who came in 1960. Anywhere between 4 people to now, we have grown into almost 1,000 families in the area. And the greater Dayton area, Cincinnati and Columbus, there's probably 10, 15,000 families easy there. Now, if you ask for a challenge, you know, we all go, we want an Indian store, we want an Indian restaurant, and they all have come through. But when you look for a students and education, it's always has been a half facade, because Indians, we come in various languages, various type of food, various type of holidays, and various type of religion. But what binds us all is the family values of India. Irrespective of what religion you are or what kind of a sect you are, where you come from, family values, that is our strength. And the schools where people tried to run school from 1960s in their homes, 2 people, 4 people, 6 people, 10 people. But after their kids are gone, the school will fold. So in 1990s, when I was working at the temple, just, you know, watering the lawns, and I was asked to come on the board and told me to run a Sunday school. It was given to me by saying, hey, we need to put a school together. And when I looked at it, and when I called a lot of people, would you send your kids to the school? People said, why? You're teaching the same thing every week, every day. Same Shuklam Bharadram. So I had a heated conversation saying that school is not providing what they want. So I did a little bit of a calling everybody. When I got the beating, I learned from them one thing. If the school has to survive, it has to be a systems, and it has to last for long, and also it has to give them something for the time, and that something has to be predefined like a university. So that is when I recognized it's not the school that's a problem. It's not the content that's a problem. How we structure it together, how we package it together, how we deliver it together. And though I did not know a whole lot about religion, you know, it's another business. It's a social entrepreneurship. You need to package it and deliver it to the kids, which would be useful. But also I know if you're starting at McDonald's, one day you can't put 10 different types of burgers out. You got to go one at a time. So we decided to do quarterly some syllabus, and we decided to push it on for 12 years if we could. And a lot of people joined us. But the crux of the deal is we started in a basement. From the basement, we came to a building now. None of them we aspired for or we thought it would happen. It happened on its own. We just walk the walk. That's where you start enjoying Gita when it says, you do your job and I know what my final goal is. Now we are here.
So beautifully expressed, Wayne. I can listen to you forever just sitting here. I agree with you. I think we have to find ways by which it can be more practical, as well as something that the children can take interest and learn. And it looks like you've got a very structured layout at YGIC. So I would love to hear more about your programs, how you've shaped it, and I believe there are multiple years, as you mentioned, that you have put in the structure. So would you like to say a little bit more about it?
Sure. Let me give a couple of parts about how did we define what we wanted to give, and then how it turned into a different role. And let me give that in the next this segment of it.
Sure.
We decided our children. End of the day, it's all about our children. If you ask any Indian, if for that matter, any parent would tell you what is their most important asset, or what they love the most, what their pride and joy, every parent is going to say, Indian parent for sure is going to say, my pride and joy is my kid, even though they like their cars, a Lexus or a Toyota, but they will say still their kids are the number one on it. And so we decided we need to say, what do we want to give it to our kids to go where they are? They're pretty smart kids. At least in the US, we are dealing with this type of children. They have all what they need to succeed. We don't need a Sunday school to succeed. But why do we need a YGIC? Is the Indian culture is something really special, and the family structure is something special, and that is something they would get it only if we raise the children as a village. I come from a small village of 2,000 people. And today there is a coronavirus. Every one of us are calling and see who is doing what. Not only about our family, everybody. A family raises a child. And I can tell you, my daughters who grew up, only 30% of my knowledge went in to them. All the characters or qualities I did not have came from somebody else. So we put in a vision at starting stage. What do we want it to be? What do our children want to be where they want to be? They have to be well-rounded. Their intelligent quotient is high. We want to take their emotional quotient really high. So we said, we create this to reinforce the universal values of Indian culture as a backdrop. Every culture, they have universal values. Our Indian culture special is the family values. That is what Dr. Chris Joshi, who is an entrepreneur in this area, would say, when what we have the most is our family values. So we showcase the family value. We said our friendship, we consider our friends as a family. Fostering the friendship and respect for everyone is emphasized in the school. Giving back to the community is set in motion as a part of the culture itself. And above all, in today's world, empathy and compassion reign supreme at YGAC. What I mean by that is, all of us are great chess players. All of us can do a running race, 100-meter race. But the question is, can you run a 100-meter race with 4 people in a row and pass the baton? When you pass the baton, is your job over when you just hand it to somebody and they drop it? Or you win only when the next person catches it? That is the question. And that is the specialty of Indian culture. We as a family always think about our parents or our kids, our grandkids, and for them to bring that value by coming into YGAC, listening, talking to them, sitting with their friends all the time, we give that opportunity for them to feel it. So that is what the YGAC's crux is.
That's wonderful. I appreciate you thinking so deeply about it and giving this opportunity to many others who can perhaps, share their knowledge with others and also take this to the next level. So it is amazing to see, to hear what you've been doing so many years. At this point, I would like to actually read a comment from one of our patrons from Bharat FM. on Facebook, they've put in a comment which is actually seems more like a two-part question to you, Wayne. So let me read that to you. And meanwhile, I would like to request all our audience members and viewers to please continue to post your comments and compliments. I am able to share them on the screen for everybody to see. And if there are any questions, I'll be happy to pass it on to Wayne. So here's the comment that I was mentioning before. Let me read it out. It says, if parents follow the culture and traditions, then children will learn it. I'm not sure how and why it's a challenge. Children interested in college education. So this is the second part of it. Children interested in college education are bound to learn the process and probably will not need any help or advice. That has been the case all around the person who is commenting this. And so what is the definition of a bright future and highly successful? Who defines it? Truthfully, there is a lot for parents to learn from children, and I agree with this person to a certain extent. But you have already touched upon some of this. Why an organization like YGIC is important. There are some incredible parents who do a great job raising their children, but at the same time, getting this kind of an organization, having it in the community, helps in many ways too. So I would like you to just perhaps reply to this comment in as I mentioned, you already touched upon some points, but if you'd like to just respond to this comment.
Yeah, absolutely. Just let me give a quick response. I don't know where this writer is residing at, and I can speak for one thing. Wherever this person is residing at, I can tell you something. Having come to US 30 years ago, having 3 master's degrees, and working in electrical, mechanical, and all engineering, and I sought the biggest problems in the country, I can tell you something. I haven't learned the tip of the iceberg. I can tell you something. My 2 kids are going to college, and though I spend a lot of time with them, and there are others and other aspects of you, what you will always lack will come from others. Like, I haven't seen one person who can teach them all. Einstein's can't teach. Einstein's kids cannot be the best because the brain is only so big. There are so many aspects of the brain will be powerful in one area, weak in the other area. So unless otherwise you give an opportunity for the children at the young age to listen to all aspects and make up their own mind, how the neuron connects it, good or bad, at the young age. So we are not saying that we know it all. What we are saying is we as an Indians should give them the best opportunity to reach there. I'm going to go say something. I hope it's not becoming controversial. If you see in India, Indians have come from different parts of the world to US. Okay? If you go and look at most of the companies, till the last 5 or 8 years, most of the times Indian will reach a certain extent and their growth will be ceased. The reason for that is we are in a different culture. What takes you all the way to the top? That 1%, all Indians here are reaching about, let's say 90% or whatever. That's just, I'm putting a number, and I don't want to get carried away with a number. What is important is you get a chance to see all aspects of it, so that reaching the top 1% of climbing, the Mount Everest is the hardest. Why is that? You need everything possible to get there. So that's the reason we need an organization like that to give them an opportunity, which you are going to see the next round segment. The kids are going to show up. You can judge for yourself.
Correct. As we continue our program, we will learn more and more about YGIC and why YGIC is an organization like YGIC is an essential part of our Indian community, especially when we live outside of India, and how YGIC is already helping many children out here. So let us continue our program. And at this point, I would like to welcome Wayne's better half, if I may say so, Lalita, to our program. Welcome, Lalita. How are you doing?
Doing good, Vijaya. Thank you. Good morning. And
good morning. Thank you for. Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you for joining our program. So to our viewers, I would like to give a quick introduction of Lalita as well here. So just give me 1 second. Lalita is an engineer by profession, and she works side by side with Wayne in business as well as social projects, teaching, research, and authoring books for children. is a passion for her. So Lalita, welcome once again, and I would like to really hear about your role at YGIC and how have you found this whole experience? I believe this started as a dream or an idea from Wayne, and you have been the strong woman behind him, if I may say so, behind his success. So please share more with us about your role and how this whole experience has been.
Sure, it's my pleasure. Yeah. I would say I'm blessed to have had the opportunity of coming up with a curriculum for children to kickstart the program along with Venkat. When he came up with this vision for YGIC, I right away knew that it was in the line of my own interest to come up with a curriculum for children for the first 4 years. And our older child was also at the right age at the time when we were about to kickstart the program. And I wanted to give my best for my child, as well as share my knowledge with everyone and give back to the community around me. And in this process, I helped Venkat in many ways for YGIC. I take care of the admission process, registering the students, placing them in right classes, providing books for them and communicating to parents about it. Slowly, I know in this process, I prepared the class attendance sheets for the teachers and provide needed materials for them to run the classes efficiently. And it's like a business, we have a continuous improvement process. Constantly, the syllabus is being worked at to suit the needs of children. And it's pretty much like a child, I would say. I know you never know when the child needs a diaper change. Whoever is at that time available, we take care of it. And anything else in this process, I support Ven and help him along the way.
Good to hear, Lalita. I would like to hear more about you authoring the children's books. It is so interesting for me to know. So you are an engineer by education, and you're authoring children's books. So that's very different. And how do you think your skills, engineering skills, have come into play here, if at all they have?
Engineering skills.
Probably multitasking for sure, because as an engineer, it's not easy to do multiple things. But yeah, anything that you'd like to share there?
I don't know how my engineering skills are coming over here. Maybe I can say the other way around. Regarding to YGIC curriculum, I came up with the core content of the books, year 1 through 4, referring to many sources, and at the same time keeping intact the vision set by Venkat for the school. He gave the outline that we are going to have slokas, bhajans, yoga, and the stories with many interesting activities. So at that point, I thought, where did I learn all these from? I was given a clean sheet of paper in my hand, and I got to start with this project. So only then I remembered my mom. I would like to recall my mom here, who was the biggest inspiration for me to come up with the various topics here for YGIC. I remember she taught me simple shlokas to recite daily as a kid at home. And I remember she was telling the story of Ramayana to me when I was a kid. And she repeated the story tirelessly, many number of times. And not only that, she created a habit in me of writing Sri Rama Jayam. It means victory to Lord Rama, as a way of prayer, and even winning prizes for that. And this culture and tradition gave me a roadmap for the first 4 years of YGIC. It is that parent to child education, that gives the family atmosphere here. And some children, like our own children, are fortunate to have their own parents as volunteers here to teach them. And this is very special about YGIC. And my next inspiration to come up with this kind of a curriculum is our Hindu temple here, where I attended all the festivities with my toddler children at that time, seeing how the puja is conducted methodically by the priest. That gave me the idea of what shlokas, bhajans to include in the curriculum for the first 4 years for children. This way, the children in our community, when they go to temples and attend any puja, they will already be familiar with the recitations. And when they take the books home with them from OIGIC, they can any day go back and refer to what they have learned in Sunday school. So this is what keep me moving along with the YGC projects, I can say.
Right, and clearly there has been a lot of efforts that has gone into the curriculum, just bringing it out and getting these books ready for the children. Also, you have to be so careful when you are authoring these books, especially the YGIC ones, where you're trying to teach children and something that they can follow easily and they can learn. So I commend your efforts doing that. So that's wonderful to know. So what you just spoke about, was it specific to the elementary age children, year 1 to 4, or was it for?
Yes, it's for elementary school children starting at age 7. When they complete their first grade in the regular school, we take them in YGIC, and we have 4 components in our education. They are shlokas, bhajans, yoga, and stories. And when one looks into the first 4 books, he or she can see the level of shlokas and bhajans are slowly increasing from simpler ones to larger versions that are frequently applied in pujas, in temples, as well as in home. And not only that, our tradition of worshipping tulasi, bilva leaves, cow, vahanas of different gods and goddesses, they are all taught through different shlokas. This way, we impart the culture of looking every creation as important as we are. That is regarding the shlokas and bhajans, I would say. Now, coming to yoga, we introduce Surya Namaskar poses and then move on to 30 different poses, introducing pranayama and meditation in higher levels. Yoga is not only a tool for physical fitness, we try to make the students aware of it as a relaxation technique from the busy daily schedule that we have, and that will eventually make them think and see the purpose and big picture of life. I don't have to tell you this because your family is a bigger proponent of yoga and you come from a lineage of teachers. Now then we thought about the stories for children. In year 1, we introduced the kids' stories like Dhruva, Prahalada from Bhagavata Purana. And then slowly we introduce the different gods and goddesses. For example, Shiva's one form is Ardhanarishwara, where Shiva and Parvati are one. That to give an idea that men and women are equal. And introducing Om, the most comprehensive form of God, making students understand in very simple words that every God, every one of us, and everything in this world are part of this Om. And then slowly we thought about other different stories in different years, like year 2, we included Ramayana. We talk about morals, example, truth and righteousness from Rama, the sibling love between them, Lakshmana, Bharata, friendship with Sugriva, and also the devotion from Hanuman and so on. And we have also told about Dasavatara stories. Through those Dasavatara stories, we want to introduce we want the children to know whenever Dharma is on its decline on earth, the Lord himself takes an avatar to restore that Dharma. And then, of course, Mahabharata is the longest epic poem in the world. And we introduced that in year 3. And we are trying to make the children think about what is right and wrong from every character in it. And what are the consequences. So how to stick to the righteousness. So slowly we make them think in that angle. In year 4, we discuss all about Krishna and then Bhakti Yoga from Bhagavad Gita. So Gita teaches morals and talks about qualities dear to God. We know that. So all the above stories are presented with interesting activities and books. So I hope I have.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Thank you for sharing the details for year 1 to year 4. So, the background that you're giving the kids, as far as the epics, Indian epics go, and mythology and other aspects of Indian culture go, that is wonderful because many parents find it difficult to actually teach the kids well enough for especially living outside. So, I think this an organization like YGSC is puts in like a supplemental effort to what we as parents are already doing at home. So it is wonderful to have that support system, I think, in the community. And so, would you like to perhaps, Wayne, would you like to share more about what goes on year 4 onwards?
Sure, sure. Once again, I just want to mention one thing.
Sure.
So parents are the best. There is no, nothing can replace what the learning is going to come from parents. And but in today's world, are the parents able to do everything they could, or also why are so many of the parents complaining? My kids don't want to go to temple. So these are the things come about. Initially, when I was given the job, I was told, we'll give you a few $300. Can you take all the kids to King's Island? I said, what is that for? Oh, that is the youth group we want to develop. I know that's not the youth group I want to develop. I want the kids to stay from day one. They have to learn the fundamental values and then they play. Day one, you don't go into play. So we decided first 4 years would be a basic religion. And if year 5, we make them think a lot about religion in depth. If you go out on your own, we said, this is the last year. You will learn. These are all the areas of interest to you, like a bookmark. You can learn whatever you want to learn. And then the next aspect of all our books is we don't follow a certain person. We follow the Shruti and Smriti. And we don't interpret the religion. We say what is in the book. Our kids have to understand on their own. We give them only the information, what they need. And and so 6, 7, 8, what we did, we wanted to teach them more. We wanted to be volunteering at the community and understand, become empathetic and compassionate to others. So we taught them to be the best. We will do a time management. We will do finance. We will learn about the Indian history. We'll learn about the project management. And we put them through Congressional Award. That's the most interesting part of the program. I think people are getting a lot out of it. Congress, bipartisan, this one bill, bipartisan, voted by everybody, is called a Congressional Award for the Children. And when we were looking to bring the kids out to volunteer outside, and we felt, hey, somebody has already put the program in, let us follow and give an opportunity. So we bring the kids in, we explain what a Congressional Award is, and we let them become an adult in the process. That turns the kids just like that. The year 8, when they attend the school, what I see them is day 1, they will come late. Day 2 onwards, they will come 10 minutes early to the school. And they understand when uncle is waiting there to mow the lawn and pick the trash, and we are going to be there 10 minutes ahead. Guess what? They're pushing their parents to be on time. So if a parent has to pick up 3 people and come, the parents are planning 1 hour ahead and coming. So that is the day I see the Congressional Award 8th year onwards, they change. And just to let you know, about 8 years ago, we had only one Congressional Award winner, which was my daughter out of Ohio. Today, this year, there are 14. Majority of them are from YGIC. I say about 100 plus students have gone through Congressional Award program. Our kids have volunteered. They have gone to the local parks and picked up trash. They have gone and painted the basketball courts of all of the Fairborn. And Fairborn mayors calls them for a dinner. And they understand by giving back to the community, what are the things they are able to achieve. They go into the next phase of adulthood.
This is amazing. I agree with what you're saying. I think parents do what they can, but when there is a group of people like you and Lalita who are trying to impart the knowledge that you have and what you are already sharing with your own children, with other children in the community, that actually leads to like a ripple effect, and it keeps going. I think it keeps giving back to the community. It just is a bigger effort at that point. So rather than just helping our family, we are trying to help more families in the community. That is wonderful effort, I think. So there are many compliments and comments coming along. I would like to just ask you one more question here.
Sure.
This could be question that is probably faced by many parents in India. And so Indian parents here, parents of Indian origin who live abroad, especially. So one question that's been asked is, so you know how you mentioned, Lalita, about teaching kids to worship cows the way it's done traditionally in India. We consider cows as gods. And here, unfortunately, many kids or many families, even of Indian origin, um, they resort to eating beef. So it's kind of a contradiction there. So how do you face, or maybe perhaps how do you deal with such situations? Do you encounter any challenges or complicated situations or questions from children, or any other aspects that you'd like to share where, how do you deal with such things?
Okay, let me take that question to make it that program a little faster, because we have taken too much of your time. See, problems are going to be there. Questions are going to come. Nothing is easy. In olden days, if you look at it, a farmer had to just produce a tomato and take it out and sell it in the market. He's done. But today, if you want to be a tomato farmer, which I want to become a farmer at the end of the day, I have to first learn where the tomato is used. Is it going to be canned, or is it going to be in a product? There's so many things. You have to collaborate. You have to work with others. You have to be empathetic. You have to be compassionate. We at YGIC, the teachers always are considered ladders. We are not the destination. Okay? Now, we also tell them, yes, we pray God. We pray cows. We pray everybody. Everybody is equal. There is also another side to it, like we eat them right or wrong. We are not here to tell what is right or what is wrong. We are here to make you think. And if we if we click that on to think, and also be understanding. We may not eat cow in India. Here people may eat. We may not eat another one in one country. People may eat snake in Japan and Korea, not on the other place. Who are we to judge? So we are not here to judge. So this is what we tell the kids. You need to look at it and be compassionate and empathetic. That's good. You will find an answer for yourself. Now, coming back, I just want to say one thing, since you said, like Lalita and Ben. Lalita is very smart, and I don't know anything about religion. I learn from her all day long, like all of us are. We men don't give enough credit to our women, is what they say. But guess what? Women are God in our religion, and women are equal in every aspect of our religion. Okay, so you learn from each other, and we have brought 75 volunteers, have given 34,000 hours. We are just the glue, and we are enjoying watching everybody. The day the diaper has to be made, nobody is there. We are there to change it. So we also get the credit, like we did it. We didn't do a thing. We are just the pawns. There is a guy up there is planning all our moves. We are just doing his footwork. So I want to make sure that we are not the one. Everybody around us has given so much work I can name, but there are 75 of them.
Right. Ven, wonderful explanation here. I agree with you in many ways. I think there's only so much that we can do, but each of us have been put on earth with a purpose. So rather than just, thinking about how we can get day by day, get by every day, we have to try and find our purpose, and anything that we can do to contribute to the society is a wonderful thing. So I guess we have to continue putting in efforts to bring about such initiatives and also such ventures at YGIC to the community. So that's really wonderful. And thank you for all that you're doing for the communities. And as you mentioned, it's not a one or two person's job. There is a whole team behind you that supports you. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a few minutes. However, at this point, I would love to bring in some YGIC students to have them share their story, because this is also exciting. Definitely our audience members would like to learn more from the students who have been on the receiving end. So let us begin with Sadhvi Venkatramani, who also happens to be Ven and Lalita's older daughter. Hi, Sadhvi. How are you? Welcome to the program.
Hi, Vijaya. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Wonderful. We would love to hear about you a little bit more, Sadhvi. Would you like to share some more about where you are, which at what point in life are you now, and also give. Did you join YGSE because your dad pressured you? So let's keep the conversation light. Go ahead and answer us, please.
Yeah, of course. Happy to. Hi, everyone. My name is Sadhvi Venkatramani, as Jaya said. I grew up in Dayton, Ohio with my wonderful parents and a younger sister. I guess brief introduction about myself. I grew up in Dayton most of my life. I went to high school in the area. There's a high school called Beaver Creek. I went there, and as you know, as we heard in the beginning, my parents run a business, and I think a lot of my background was growing up in this family business environment. And I remember, when I was young, getting to help with things like shipping out machine parts, going to the UPS store, running inventory in our basement, or listing out items on eBay, small things like this. And although the engineering side was very interesting, I think even more so than that, I found the business side very much more so interesting. And I had a lot of questions that I had, when I was younger. I'd ask my parents, how do we make money? How do we manage inventory? How do we do the accounting? Those types of questions. And so that's kind of what led me to want to dive into business. I applied to a variety of business schools. I ended up going to the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. It feels really long ago, but I graduated in 2019, so a few years ago. And campus was great. It was a great way for me to learn a lot about finance, business, all kinds of different things, much more than I had anticipated was in the field. And I also got to meet very cool people. I think that's a lot of the college experience, is being at a place, as a lot of this conversation was about earlier, is learning from so many different perspectives and really, filling in the other parts of the brain that I think there is so much more to learn from. And so that was my experience. And I realized what I wanted to do was really help a lot of small businesses like my parents and get a full picture of how a deal in finance works. So I ended up working at investment banking at Goldman Sachs after graduation from college. I focused on middle market companies at Goldman, which is really interesting. So a little bit smaller companies, not necessarily family size, but smaller than kind of the big names you hear, every day on Google or in the news. And so that was really fun. And a lot of challenging work. But after a couple of years, actually just a couple months ago, I started a new job at a private equity firm. And these are what we call kind of clients of the investment bank. Not to get into too much detail, but these are kind of the people seeking funding to help grow and buy businesses. And so now I'm working at EQT Partners. I'm able to focus on infrastructure and industrial deals, much to the liking of my engineering parents. And so I've really been able to enjoy that and learning a lot.
Congratulations on all your accomplishments, Sadhvi. It's wonderful to hear how far you've come, and what a great school to be in, Wharton, and then you're now, in a successful career phase of life. So that's wonderful to know. How can you tell us, or tell our audience, how did YGIC help you in this journey?
Yeah, for sure. I think
we're still waiting to hear. Did your dad and mom force you? Come on,
I will address that
question here. We are not going to let you off the hook.
So as a child, I actually I was very young. I think 5, 6 years old when my parents were starting. I don't even remember, it was so long ago. But I saw what they were doing, and for me, it was just a fun activity. It was part of, let's go to the temple, let's go meet some other people my age and have fun and, learn new things. And I think growing up, I didn't know what they were doing. I was like, oh, this is a nice little way to get to meet people. And I enjoyed going. By no means was forced. It was actually a fun activity to get out of the house, as my parents say. I always like to explore or do things. So I think I probably bothered them too much on that note. But it was a nice way for me to get out. But I think the evolution, or when I started understanding what was really happening, is as I grew older and kind of past the year 1 to 4, when we started branching out into a few different things in the year. And I was lucky to be kind of in the pioneering year, because I was the oldest student at the time. And so for me, looking back on what I think YGIC really taught me was being able to think like a leader and just taking a step back and really looking at the big picture. And I think that's something that maybe you hear a lot of times, but it's really hard to execute. And that's at least what I felt. I personally don't think it's something that I can just, look at the big picture. It takes a lot more to understand what that means. And so I've noticed at YGIC, we learn to work hard and get things done, all these projects that my parents mentioned in the community. But I think we also learned that how we got things done was just as important, if not more important, than the actual outcome itself. And maybe I'll speak to an example if that's helpful. One example that comes to mind when I think back is one of the first service projects at YGIC. We had just launched that year, the volunteering year that my parents talked about. And the teacher was actually my dad. And he walked into the room and said, everyone, let's brainstorm and come up with a really impactful charity project for the community. And so all the students, myself and I, we were all, we started thinking and spilling out all kinds of ideas. Let's raise, X money. Let's raise even more money for this charity or that charity. Let's start to collect shoes or whatever to donate to a charity that seems like they have a good drive going. And so as we hashed through all these ideas, we eventually came down to one that we all really liked. But the idea was a little bit different. We landed on hand-making items like scarves, hats, blankets, bags for a women's and children's shelter. And rather than simply trying to collect money, we could now really multiply our effort and what this money is able to give to the charity by adding in our own labor. So we're not only donating money, we're also donating our time, our thinking, while also helping to develop ourselves in doing so. And I think the last component of that project that I think was really important from my perspective was building a relationship with this charity and the community and the people that it supports. So it's not necessarily a one-time, let's raise money, let's give it, but also a lot more of how can we really be a part of this community and make an impact. So at this time, I thought it was just decision-making. We went through and selected a good idea, but now looking back, I see it was a lot more. In my job now, I notice how important it is to always, look at the big picture, come up with creative solutions for businesses that are having a lot of tough issues. And so in order to make an impact, YGIC, I think, really helped me grow, kind of step back, as I mentioned, see from a broad perspective, which, as I mentioned, didn't really think it was that difficult, but it is quite difficult as I see every day now.
Yes, I enjoyed hearing your story, and I could relate so much with my personal experience as well, Sadhvi. Just, being around your parents who are working that hard, not only at their own business, but at the temple or at other community, initiatives. I think that puts in certain values in us as well as we are growing. So it's, as Lalita mentioned before, I come from a yoga family. So rather than just practicing yoga for myself, it was not just about learning it for myself. When I was seeing my parents as I was growing up, I saw the countless hours that they put in the community service. And that is why I feel like teaching yoga now. I know the payback. I know what comes back from it. So that is how I see with you also, Sadhvi, the same kind of light that your parents have. So it's not just about using those lessons that you learned by helping them with all these small trips to the UPS or whatever, but it's also about now at this phase when you're independent, trying to do that for others and giving back to the community, helping others who may not be as lucky as us to have the same kind of background or the same kind of parents to help out, or any other resources that we may have had. So that is wonderful to hear from you, Sadhvi. Thank you so much for sharing. At this point, I would like to welcome another brilliant student of YGIC, Vamsi Varanasi. Hello. Hi, and welcome, Vamsi. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Good to see you. Welcome to the program. We would love to hear from you, Vamsi. How long ago did you graduate from YGIC? Where are you? What phase in life are you at right now? Please do share a little bit more about yourself with our audience.
Well, it's going to be tough to follow, Sadhvi. I couldn't tell you when I graduated from YGIC. I think Ven Uncle knows better than I do. So I was in, I don't think I was in in Sadhvi's class. I think it was in the second class, but I was just looking at the pictures that Van Uncle sent over. He made us make ridiculous faces, so hopefully he doesn't bring that up. But I think I was in the first class in 2005, I want to say, and lots of fun memories of the whole temple group, and what became YGIC was really one of the defining social groups when I think about my time in Dayton. So I lived in Dayton with my family from, I want to say, when I was 6 years old to when I was 13, and then we moved to Raleigh, North Carolina, when in my 7th grade. So that was probably my last time I was in YGIC. Then grew up in North Carolina, graduated from high school there, then went to college in California. And so my whole childhood was marked by both. I have a deeply religious family, and YGIC was certainly really a big part of that. But then also my dad is a scientist. We had a very, very scientific upbringing, and that's what we used to talk about at the dining table every day. So when I went to college, I thought I was going to go and become a scientist. Went and studied physics at Stanford. And then, so I graduated from college in 2020, thinking I was going to go on and do a PhD, but then coronavirus hit, and then lots of things happened, and I ended up starting a company with some friends from school. And I knew very little about this, and after I went and did this, we incorporated the company, and I think a week later, Van Uncle was my first call. And it was very clear from that call, I would expect that I had no idea what I was doing. I still don't really know what I'm doing, but yeah, lots of love for the whole YGIC group. Learned a lot from that whole process, and definitely an integral part of who I am today.
If I may, just to say one
Please.
thing.
Please go ahead.
These are all my kids, and I get a kick out of watching them. Now I have like 250 kids. So every time they do something, I am the first guy to jump up and down. I can also tell what the kids are like. Like, for example, see, Vamsi comes from a science family. His dad is one of my best buddies, right? Now, here you go. He helped me with so many of the process in year 5 and year 6. See how polite he is. He didn't want to say he went to Stanford. He said, I went to California. Guess what he said? I was going to do PhD. He didn't say he's going to go to PhD for Harvard. So this is how we are taught. And I am the guy at the back pushing them to tell who you are, because you're going to make a difference. This is going to sell you. When he starts a business, I'm the first guy to beat him up with all the questions. I would rather see him beat up by me than anybody else. Is my kid. So that's just beautiful. Go on. Continue on, please.
Nice to hear your remarks, Wayne, for sure. And Vamsi, it's wonderful to hear about your accomplishments. Hearty congratulations to you. And how lucky am I to be here today with all of you brilliant youngsters. I am so happy to be here with you. And thank you so much for taking the time. It does look like you all have a very busy life now, but still you are able to come back. And this is also one way that you are giving back to the community through, these programs, where I would also urge you, please do let others know about your great accomplishments. Please don't hide it, because that you are actually inspiring many younger kids. Like my kids are still in elementary, and we want them to hear from if they're seniors like you all. So that's wonderful, and we are getting a lot of comments and compliments. I will just take a moment to read out a few. I have been showing them on the screen as well. Lalita Satyalji, she is from Cincinnati, Ohio. She's our patron at Bharat FM, very kind supporter of all our programs. She says youth perspective is valuable. Thank you, Vamsi and Sadhvi. And she has been sending a lot of compliments here. Hearing from a young mind such as Sadhvi is important. Glad you brought her in. It takes a village to succeed in these well-planned endeavors, and excellent questions. Oh, thank you, Lalita ji, for praising me also, along with the guests. I am very proud to have these guests here today. So it's all about them today. And we have Rachna Bhaskaran from Dayton, Ohio. We have Anil and Deepali Patnaik, who are an integral part of YGIC at Dayton, USA. And they are also saying very happy to hear Wayne and Lalita this morning, sharing in depth about YGIC and all about it and how it started. Thank you, Vijaya, for hosting this session. It's my pleasure, Anil and Deepali, definitely. Thank you, Ravindravani, for tuning in today. Thank you for your questions and comments. And we do have Krishna Swami here, and he asks you one question. there are certain programs in different parts, different cities. So if you have more idea about this, how is YGIC program different from Chinmayas, Baal, Vihar? If you have any idea, you are welcome to share. If not, it's okay. There are different programs in different places.
Yes. I do have just every program is a good program. I am anybody who is working and putting some work is work. It's good. But for us, we made the program slightly to keep it oriented towards the children's to become a leader. Like I said, initially we said, are we going to make them all religious experts? No, that's not what we were going to do. What we were going to was just make them the leaders, youth leadership for tomorrow with compassion and empathy. That's our values. But other programs may have other fundamental values. So all is good.
Thank you, Wayne, for taking that question. And we also have another question here from Manisha Sharma-ji. And she's asking, I believe she's saying that her nephew is flying for masters in game design to San Francisco very soon. And if there are any youth programs over at YGIC that he could join, and this probably looks like, any virtual options that you may have. So I'm not sure whether you have it right now, or maybe you have it in the works, Wayne, but if you would like to respond
I'll
to
just
that.
do a quick answer. The quick answer is we have an extensive website. Once again, what we are doing is we don't know everything. We are trying something day by day, like our Lalita said. We are in the continuous improvement process. And all these kids, we are in touch to see what they do, what they say. I keep my both ears open. We keep our ears open. Otherwise, we don't hear. And I wish I had a couple more years to hear. So we'll keep improving. And you find what is interesting to you. Go to your website, go to our website and see if anything is interesting. We are non-profit. You can print it, run it, whatever you would like. You can do whatever it is. And you have a question, you can email it to us. We will help you find it. Find what gives you what you want the most. That's our motto.
So you may have some volunteer opportunities in the future, perhaps, and maybe open up some of your programs online for folks who may be interested to join from elsewhere.
This year we are doing it, but we are not guaranteeing it because, again, like I said, I'm a social entrepreneur and I want whatever one burger I sell to be a perfect burger. I don't want 10 products. So I don't know whether we can make it happen successfully or not. So this year it is working out with the teams we are having all remote. A lot of people are joining in, and there are people from several different parts of the world are printing our books and studying on their own, or they are running their own school based on that. And if they ask for a support, we give them support. Other than that, we are not as such branching to become big in different places and everything. So that's where we are.
Yep. And that is a great question. That's a great answer as well. I would just like to add to the viewers that our program here is to give you more ideas about, what kind of successful programs are being run in various communities, like right now, YGIC at Dayton. And I would say probably half of the Indian community, if I'm not wrong, have their kids enrolled in YGIC, or at least are volunteering. Perhaps Wayne may be able to say that more. But what I'm trying to say is a lot of folks in the Indian community do take services from YGIC. So if you are in a different community, you're welcome to start something like that. Please take inspiration from Wayne and Lalita and these wonderful kids here who are past students. And, with the kind of abilities that we are seeing in Sadhvi, Vamsi, and we are having more students on very soon, YGIC could grow bigger, or more such organizations based on what YGIC has been doing might come up because of all their efforts as well. So that is the whole intention behind this program here, to commend YGIC, to understand its efforts, as well as to inspire more of you to start such programs elsewhere in the world. So thank you again to all our audience members for sending your compliments and comments. We do have also Anjani Shidam, who has joined in from Detroit, and her compliment is, it's very important to raise our children right way. YGIC, an excellent effort. Thank you, Anjani ji, for joining in. We have Shweta Sharma, and this is important to mention on our show that you have a beautiful new building now. So Wayne would have to tell us a little bit more. You did mention that the effort started out in a basement of a priest's home, and then it has now grown over the past 18, 19 years, right? So I'm just going to share this compliment from Shweta Sharma. She's from Dayton, USA, a good friend of ours. I would like to congratulate YGIC for the new beautiful building. It's a vibrant school that will contribute to a great extent towards our kids' bright future. Thanks for all YGIC is doing for our kids. So Wayne, would you like to add a little bit more about that, about your new building and also a future of YGIC? And then we will bring on a couple more students on the program.
Okay, sounds good. Sure. We are lucky again to have a new building. 18 years ago, we started in a basement with no carpet. And then after 2 years, we ran in 2 basements of 2 Panditjis. And we were hand carrying the carpet to sit down. To today, 20 years, 18 years into it, we have a new building. And we did not ask for a building. We just wanted a room. We ran the universities. But like I said, and the path is laid by somebody else. This is not what we thought we were going to. So we are fortunate enough now to have 8 classroom, 5 smaller rooms like a conference room. Now, see, I do know one thing is to make a system become systemic, it takes 25 years. We are in 18 years. We are not there yet. It'll take another 7 years. Later, this will become a system, then it'll run on its own. But it has taken multiple iterations of improvement to get here. The next 25 years for us is helping the seniors, because we are to make our life like back in India, what we don't have. We have a lot of things. We don't have a few things. What we miss is a community. Help the seniors feel like a part of extended family and facilitate them enjoy their golden years with happiness and contentment is our next goal for 25 years. We have a place built in called the Indian American Heritage Center. We are recognizing a lot of people on there. And the first one went on the wall of fame is Kamala Harris. And that building is built for multiple purpose. And the seniors are going to come in. And when the seniors come in, they can stay there. They can walk around during the day's time. So now if you look at it, so the website, what Vijaya is showing us is Kamala Harris is our first nominee. And then now, Vivek Murthy, our Surgeon General, is the next one. And we have added one by one scientists and everybody in our, who will be our role models, in a sense, what their life was like, what turned them. We are not here to celebrate their wealth or power, but we are here to celebrate what they gave us. Like a Sal Khan, how much he changed the education, like Rajiv Ram in tennis, or Preet Bharara, one of the greatest legal minds, or Padma Lakshmi, who is so creative, Mohini, who was in sports, funniest one, Mindy, or our favorite Night Shyamalan from UPenn, or Kalpana Chawla, of course, and Indra Nooyi. All of them are already on the wall of fame for us. And of course, Farid Zakaria and Brandon Chiller. You may not know, I would like to say Brandon Chiller is a football player and he is of Indian origin. So we don't know this. So this building is going to be, so that the picture what you see is a heritage center, and we will be putting out all the people who did the best. I'm hoping in another 20 years, I'm going to see 4 of my kids out there too on the building, how they shape tomorrow of the USA. So our building has a lot of ideas, and the main idea is to bring the seniors in, recognize all the Indian, show the history of India. So when you walk around it, you should feel like a place you want to be. That's the future for YGIC.
That's wonderful to hear. Thank you, Wayne, for sharing that. Yes, I just thought of sharing the website. So
Fantastic.
Some of you, you've done such a great job. I know your younger daughter, Dheera, has spent a lot of time and efforts on those slides there. So thank you for doing that. And I was so happy to see Vivek Murthy up there, because we had Dr. Hall Murthy, his father, on our program just last month. And I'm sure he'll be proud to see his son's accomplishment. That is one of the biggest things for us as parents. Of our success is measured by how successful our children are. as well as, how many people do we help, whether it's from our family or outside, to become successful, right? So we have to help others as well to become successful. So Lalita ji had asked me about the name of your website. So it is ygic.us. So please, audience members, you're welcome to go there, browse a little bit more and get more information about YGIC, more than what we were able to share in this program. So at this point, without further ado, I know we have two other brilliant students from YGIC waiting to be added to this program. So let me go ahead and welcome Archana Lingan here. Hi, Archana. Welcome.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Nice to see you. Nice to be here.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining. Would you please tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So I did YGIC like the very first years that they opened. I was going to the basement that we were just discussing. So first off, it's incredible to see like how it's grown and all the great work they're doing. I feel like my story probably starts with my parents because they were refugees from the Sri Lankan Civil War. So that was my like initial foray into social justice issues. And they came to Canada where I was born. And then I grew up in a suburb outside Columbus where I am currently right now. Though I'm in law school in New York. I'm just here for the summer for the second being. Growing up, I did think about going to medical school for a bit because, you know, that's like the default in our culture, I feel like. Took chemistry and realized that wasn't my skill set or my interest really. So I decided to go for something that I was more passionate about, and I studied politics in college at USC out in LA, and those classes really piqued my interest. So I decided I wanted to do social justice work and spent college getting experience in like all the different aspects of that. Legal aid, I interned at an elected official's office for a summer, just trying to figure out where I might be of most help. And I took a gap year and worked at a legal housing nonprofit. And I loved that and decided that confirmed that I wanted to go to law school as my, you know, avenue to affect social change. And so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm in law school and I hope to do public interest law.
Great to hear more about you, Archana. So at this point, we would like to know, how was your journey with YGIC? What are those memories that you cherish from being a part of YGIC? What are the perhaps lessons or values that you're still carrying on with you?
Yeah, a couple of things. I would say like knowing about my culture definitely keeps me grounded because it's something that I can, you know, always return to and it'll always be there. And I think YGIC gave me like an in-depth understanding of my culture more than, for example, like religion. Reading the epics and the stories behind the religion made it a lot easier for me to follow it and stick to it instead of like a superficial understanding of, you know, praying to God. So that's something that I definitely learned from YGIC, just about my culture in general, because my extended family is also international. So it's been really nice to have a community of my culture here in the US. And also I'd say the community aspect of South Asian families in general, the way they like take care of each other in their social circles, that value was definitely instilled in me. And I try to follow that in my career also.
It's wonderful to hear from Archana. And I would like to also bring in Ruhi Lankalaparli to our program. Thank you so much for waiting patiently, Ruhi. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for joining us today. And we would like to hear a little bit more about you.
Sure. So I just finished up my second year of undergrad at UC Berkeley, and I'm currently in Orlando, which is where my family relocated back in 2015. Up until 2015, I was in Dayton, and so I was in the YGIC program. And then I came to Orlando and completed high school, went on to study bioengineering at Berkeley with a concentration of medical devices. And I'm hoping to go to grad school to further my interests or go into industry and work more on developing and designing medical devices. So.
Great. So would you like to share anything about your experience at YGIC or the lessons that you've learned there that you value?
Sure. So I think definitely those beginning years were one of the only connections I had back to my religion. There was so much going on. And so it helped us every Sunday to be able to go back to one place and have a designated time and an ability to focus on something that at that age I definitely did not think was that important and that much of a priority, to be able to think back about even Indian history and learning about the ancient civilizations and even the epics. It seemed at that time not as valuable of a thing compared to studying for that math test that was that next week. And so now when I think back on how important those values that we learned were, it's really shaped who I am. And I think even beyond learning the religious aspects, going into middle school where we did a lot of the service programs like the Congressional Award, I started that back in Dayton. I learned about it in Dayton and I was able to continue it and then become a gold medalist here in senior year. And so that was also a journey that would not have been possible without YGIC. And then finally, I think the community that I built, I did not have a lot of Indian friends at my school. We were very small, maybe 4 or 5 Indian kids in the entire grade, which some districts in Ohio were very, very Indian, but mine was not. And so I didn't have any friends like that. And so when I was able to come and drive over to Beaver Creek for our weekly sessions, I met so many people who I would not have been able to connect with without being in a program like YGIC. So
I'm very happy to hear what you're saying, Ruhi. So we do hear, a little birdie said that you have another very smart person in your family who is about to step into MIT. Is that right?
Yes, my younger brother just graduated high school and he also went through YGIC. And he is heading to MIT for engineering, which is very exciting. We're all super proud of him.
What a proud moment for your family. And thank you to YGIC for helping these youngsters, make those decisions, shape their personalities. That's wonderful. At this point, I would actually like to ask, this is an open question. So any of you can take it. I want to ask you youngsters, all 4 of you past students of YGIC, this taking kids to YGIC is a commitment for parents, right? And now as adults, you understand all the efforts that your parents put in to take you every Sunday, Sunday after Sunday. Parents have had a tough week at work. Still, they have to get up, make it on time, before time actually, and drag themselves, if not the kids, drag themselves to take the kids to YGIC. That's quite a commitment when you are having a busy working life. So what would you say about this? How is this the right thing to do for young parents? Take their kids. Do you want to say something that would help all of us to push ourselves to do it for our children? And Wayne is laughing, but this is a big commitment for parents. I have my friends who don't want to get up early on Sundays. I have my friends who are so religious and attend Sunday churches. So it's wonderful. We are in an environment where there are people from different backgrounds, as Wayne mentioned before, different religious backgrounds. And some of them are very strict about taking their kids and helping them attend, helping them more familiarize with such things, aspects of our life. Very important. Now, you youngsters have to tell us, is it the right thing to do for young parents? What would you like to add? So we feel more, inspired to take our children. And also for those young kids who are still in elementary school, what would you like to tell them? Why should they be going to YGIC Sunday school? They've probably had enough of Indianism at home, right? Indian food, Indian values, Indian everything. Many times they feel free when they are with their American friends. So what would you like to add to them? Anybody can take this question. I know you're all smart and you have so much rich experience. So we would love to hear from you.
I can take this one. My parents we grew up in Columbus. So my parents actually drove me an hour every weekend because it was in Dayton. But whenever we got there and we got to see Ramani uncle and his family, it was always worth it. And I think the relationships that we form by doing that is very important, especially because once we go off to college and stuff, obviously we're not going to be with our parents, right? So it's nice to have that relationship outside of them. So it's someone that we can connect to and see over and over again. And it's a lifetime relationship, seriously. So I think it's definitely worth it.
I think also with I've been speaking to a lot of my peers and we feel at times a sense of regret of not even being able to like connect with our culture, whether it's not even fully being able to speak our language and being worried about what we will be able to pass on to our children, our next generations. I think when you have a program like YGIC that is so beautifully packaged, K through 12, almost handed to you, it's impossible not to take that opportunity and to just make some effort to go there, whether it's you got a carpool with 20 parents so that you can take a week off for driving or whatever needs to happen. I think that that's enough of a push to motivate you to take your family to YGIC.
Thank you, Archana and Ruhi. Would you like to add anything, Sadhvi and Vamsi, anything else that is coming to your mind now?
I can just make a quick comment, but Archana and Ruhi said it wonderfully. I think for me, growing up with my parents and being quite involved in that sense, I think it was kind of an adventure for me to come out to the new building. You know, whenever I visited back home in Ohio, it was fun. It was a change of pace, especially in a pandemic environment that we've had over the last year. I've noticed for me, sometimes it's hard to, you know, get out of bed, change, wear new clothes, go outside and do something. But I think it's a great refresh. And I think making that effort to go out there, even for myself and even for my parents, I've seen it's always worth it, getting out there, you know, being active and doing something, even not just connecting to our culture, but just doing something that we feel really proud and excited about.
Great. Vamsi, would you like to add anything at all? I know Sadhvi is a tough act to follow.
Yeah, I'm always going after
Sadhvi. You said that already.
That's
not at all.
But you're a smart chap. I can see that.
I don't have too much else to add, but I will. So I didn't go through the whole program because we moved when I was 12 or so. But being there at the very beginning of that whole process and seeing it evolve, like Sadhvi said, that was a pretty cool thing to do. And even now, like this was when I was 6 to 10, right? So I don't remember that much, but the defining things that I remember from being in Dayton were going to Vishnu Sahasranamam on Friday nights at the temple and going to YGIC on Sunday morning. And I think that says a lot.
So you do say that besides learning a lot of things, you also had fun, right? So those of the elementary kids who are listening in, you have to come into YGIC to have fun as well while learning. So that's great. I'm so glad all of you could share your experience at YGIC. Now, at this point, I would like to go back to Wayne and ask him something on the other side of it. This is not easy, Wayne. It's definitely not easy. Well, throughout the program, especially when the kids were talking, I could see your face beaming with pride. I could see that smile. So I can tell how proud you are of every student who's doing so well at YGIC. And I believe that's what keeps you going and keeps Lalita going. So please help us understand, how do you do it all? I'm sure you run your own business, so that's not easy at all. You travel, you take care of your family as everybody else does, but you running a business is something extraordinary, and running such a big organization for the past 18 to 19 years is something commendable, very, very remarkable. So please share with us, how do you make it happen?
Well, it's a good question. It's a loaded question. Let me tell you this.
I can help.
I'm going to have Lalita help me later on if I didn't cover something. First of all, if there's something you love, you find a way. If you ask all of our Indian parents, ask them what is the most important thing in their life. It's their kids. Today, I see a lot of families whose kids have gone out of their house and everything. Now they are all alone. When I watch them, sometimes I wonder what will be my 80s look like. If I call the kids, are they going to show up? Because that's the only thing for us. We don't really care about money. So unless otherwise I give something to my kids, I don't have the right to ask them to do something for me. Number one. Number two, it's not me. Like I said before, there are so many volunteers I can list it up. Every one of the volunteer who did at least 10 hours at least, the one thing I could do is put their name on the wall. We have something called Wall of Fame and Hall of Fame. And these people are all in the Wall of Fame. I look at them because not only they brought the kids there, they put the extra effort. Like, Pani, Vamsi's dad, helped us design the year 5. So it's not only me. But volunteering is a tough thing because, first of all, it's difficult to come there and bring them in. And then you have to volunteer. So both. But we have learned one thing. You need to go for full satisfaction, sustainable satisfaction. It's like a sustainable farming. Anything has to be sustainable. For us, social entrepreneurship is a sustainable thing. We don't look too far. And we know somebody steps up. There are so many people have stepped up. I remember every one of them, what they did to me. Without them, it would have collapsed. But God finds a way. He sends somebody there for you to be there. And people come and prop it up. And it works. So sometimes it, like Lalita said, it's like changing a diaper when you have to do it. Having Lalita on the side to say, let me do it. Now you're stressed out really helps. Okay, then the day you're tired, somebody else are picking up. But there are people come around and help you. But now look at that. Look at that. I have the kids here. What's my return? So, I am proud of 4 times proud of every other parent there because all are my kids. So for volunteering, when you do it for your kids, when I'm 80 sitting down, all somebody has to say is, Vamsi's grandkid is doing this. I say, it's my kid. And so for me, the return on my investment is just infinite. So that's how we do it.
We are proud of these kids. And, as Ben used to say, when they were young, at their elementary school age group, they may not know the value about the program. They just come have fun, develop a friendship among other kids, and they learn along with them. They might forget right away. And Ben used to say, don't worry, when the time comes, they go back and think about what they did at that age. They can even pull out the book and refresh quickly. They will remember everything at the time. So it's a group setting we create for children. It's an advantage for them. We introduce the values at that very young age, and they slowly pick it up. They learn how to conduct themselves in their life. And these kids, very nicely, they put their view, that's the biggest return we have. And this is the way of living, our Sanatana Dharma.
Right. Excellently said, Wayne and Lalita. I commend you for your efforts. For many of the parents, it is more about just getting up on Sunday morning, bringing their kids in and dropping them off. But everything else after that, between those few hours that they are out of the YGIC building, it's all of you in the background, working so hard to get those kids in line to help them learn new things, keep them entertained while giving them imparting valuable education for their life. So all of you, both of you and your whole team of volunteers, many of them who are parents themselves, have been doing a wonderful job. So I applaud everybody, each of you. I applaud your efforts and continued efforts, I should say, because as Wayne mentioned, there are a lot of new programs that are coming along that are being shaped up as we speak, for programs for seniors who we have to give credit to, because we wouldn't be here without our seniors in the community, whether it's elders in our family or seniors of the community. They are our guiding light and, our inspiration. So they have done so much for us. And this is a great way of, I think, giving back to them as well, having programs for seniors. And then I actually had the opportunity, our family, I should say, had the opportunity to get a personal tour from Wayne and Lalita of the new building of YGIC. And that was very impressive. I must say, parents, if you haven't checked it out, please do contact Wayne. And, if you can enroll your kids still for the upcoming year, please do that. If not, at some point, if you would like to visit the center, it is wonderful. I did see the Indian American Cultural Heritage Center, also the huge theater and the fun programs that Wayne is planning for movie nights and all that, along with, the educational aspect of it. So this is all commendable, wonderful work, Wayne. Well done, Lalita, and well done to all of your team of volunteers. Now, we are so close to wrapping this program. I would like to give you all the opportunity to add anything else that that you may have been feeling, okay, I should have said this, I did not. Especially the kids, this is your moment to shine. And you know what? You are actually inspiring a whole lot of us, whether we are older than you or the kids who are younger than you are watching. So if you have to share anything else about your future plans or, anything else that you would like to share about current or past, please do. This is your time.
Children, you want to go first? I'll go last because I know what I'm going to tell about you.
else you would like to mention, please go ahead. If not, I know Wayne, Lalita, and myself have a lot to speak. So, thank you, Lalita ji. There is, oh my goodness, there are 2 Lalitas, huh? So we have, I just realized that. So Lalita ji is a very big supporter of ours. She says, great job, Vijaya, bringing out the best in your panel through your amazing. Well, the credit goes to the, yes. Go ahead, Wayne.
Hey, Vamsi, when is the, Vamsi, you want to say something about your future company? I would like to hear about it.
Yeah, sure. So we are called Sora. I've got a little mug here with our logo on it. We are building digital identity credentials. So basically allowing you to use your Touch ID or your Face ID on your phone instead of having to put your SSN or your driver's license onto websites and stuff when you need to sign up and prove your identity. So trying to get rid of identity fraud the way it exists right now on the internet. Happy to answer any specific questions there. We've been working on it for about a year. Raised some funding last year and are raising a little bit more now. And yeah, very exciting.
Cool.
Awesome. Is there a website that folks could visit? Is it up and running?
Yeah, soraid.com, SORAID.com.
Perfect. Thank you, Vamsi, and good luck with it.
Thanks.
Yep. I'm hoping when Vamsi is, another thing I forgot to tell you is not only my satisfaction, here are all my $1 million donors I have. For the next 20 years, I'm going to be in front of their house.
Wayne is a businessman.
I'm going to be in front of their house for my next project with my goal like that, and they are going to be dropping their bucks in it. That's the best part about it.
Only if you put our plaques up on your Hall of Fame, right?
So that's cool. I also just wanted to say I'm just so proud to have the kids in here. I wanted to say I'm proud of every one of their kids out there. The kids who are not there, I'm unable to bring. I got to let you know, it's just a time thing. And maybe Vijay will have a program who only kids want to come and talk whatever they want to talk about it. I want to bring us so many more kids. We have talked what we need to talk, and we would like to hear from you. And so that this is how we improve. That's one thing. Second part is the kids, what they go to school and what they achieve is a great thing. Apart from that, whatever as a person they become is very important to me. So when I send an email, hey kids, I need the other kids, can you help? Just to let us keep pouring back from the kids. Just that always touches me. They're all busy. Ruhi has an exam, but she still shows up. As soon as she finishes the send-up, all the kids are so good about whenever opportunity they get, they give back. And when they write back to me, uncle, and tell a story. So I ask all the kids to stay connected with us so that giving back, and when you guys show it to us, we are so proud of it. And also, the children, when they come together, the friendship they have formed, they will never forget it. Like Sadhvi and probably Vamsi have not stuck for 5-6 years. Now they got onto it. They remember like olden days. So bringing them and fostering their friendship at the early age is really important. And also the communities out there, whoever wants to do whatever they want to do it on their own. What you teach doesn't matter. If you bring all of them together to a place, they're going to learn from each other and for the better.
Thank you, Wayne. Would you like to add anything, Lalita?
I agree with that. And I think I said the same thing. Group setting makes a difference for the children. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, when I think about my own children, if we had not taken them to the Sunday school, I don't think how much they would have got an idea about our culture and tradition. So, and especially here away from our home country, it's very difficult to bring those values in them. Because when we grew up in India, the whole environment around, the atmosphere around us is such that nobody made us sit and learn about all these things. We grew up along with the environment and we automatically got those values within us. But here is a different scenario. So it's of course we need to put some time, parents, we need to put our time to take the kids. If we have a group learning sessions going on, it's better we create that opportunity for them. Yeah.
I agree. As parents of young kids, we put in what we can, but there's a lot going on in our life. We barely have extra support here, especially now during pandemic. But even otherwise, just living outside US, we do not have our extended family for support, and we are trying to juggle with so many things going on. So besides the efforts that we are trying to put with our kids, it's wonderful to have this opportunity, like having YGIC in the community, where we can have this extra team of amazing members who are willing to take in our kids as their own, to teach them and guide them and mentor them. And now, as we see these young faces here, shining faces, we can tell that they are also there as mentors for our children. So wonderful job, YGIC. And we need to wrap up now. However, there is one question here, which I would like to quickly ask Wayne. Okay. Very nice to know of your initiative, and would like to know how you're planning for your future leaders to save the planet. So any environmental aspects that you have for your structure or curriculum, Wayne?
It's a wonderful question. We have to do a lot of things, but you got to also prioritize. And also sometimes doing things on your own, that means it's not systemic. As soon as you're gone, it's going to be gone. At least for a structure, this is in my mind, I haven't even let out to the people yet, is we want to make our building carbon neutral. Okay, right now the kids are coming in and cutting the grasses and everything. We are not going to have a plastic allowed in the building. If they come in, people have to take the plastic out. We are going to come up with a way of putting the trash into a compost and showing them, how we can use the wind energy or a solar energy for us. But I am keeping this at the moment. We have talked about the year 8, 9, 10 kids will come in and write something called environmental statement. Your last program is about Mother Earth. We tell in the Sunday school, when you get up in the morning, when you put your feet down on the floor, you have to say, Mother Earth, forgive me. If you look at our charter on our webpage, you will see we will leave the earth better than what we came in at. And once you get that in, and we put an environmental structure for a building, if I can pull that off in 5 to 8 years, we are a carbon neutral. And it has to come from the kids from bottom up. Then we would have let out a whole group of people who think like that. When they become leaders, wherever they go, that will be in their head. So it's a long process, but we do have something to do. I would like the person who asked the question to volunteer and help us share. Send me an email. We'll talk.
For sure. So if you would like to contact Wayne, please do visit the website and do send more questions, more ideas that you may have. And as you can tell, Wayne is very open to ideas. So please bring them in and collaborate if you would like to, bring about bigger changes. And also at this point, I would like to thank our CEO of Bharat Media, Manan Bhai, who's sending 3 thumbs up for the program. So thank you, Manan Bhai, for tuning in and giving us the platform to bring YGIC to light around the world here, and have all of our wonderful guests on the program today. And also, one last thing, Wayne, we would like to take this opportunity to thank the generosity of people in our community who may have volunteered time or donated money for YGIC's efforts. Would you like to add anything there?
Absolutely. I just want to say something about the Indian community itself. Okay. Indian community is known to have, when they are gone, no headstone. That's how Indians are. That is why if you go around to the US and see, there is every sort of American Heritage Center would be there. Armenian American Heritage Center would be there. Italian American Heritage Center is there. And people like Vamsi are so smart and technical people, they don't want their name go up there. There is a guy like me who has to step up and say, hey, I need to talk about you guys. So that's why we built the Indian American Heritage Center. And Dr. Malati and Ganesh Podas were nice enough to sponsor the building. The same way, when we needed the building, our Indians would normally not even drink a pop and save the $1.80 they will not pay and drink water. But when we ask for money, as long as they know this plan is a good plan, in 7 days, we raised $1 million. And after that, there are people waiting to give us money if we need one, but we take money only when we need. So the Indian community is a very, very generous community. And they will give when they put the heart to it. And they think that's important. There are so many people in this community. The center is named after, Dr. Reddy's and Indra and Dr. B.K. Reddy gave the biggest dollar to put the building in. We asked for the land, but they generously gave a big chunk of money, quarter of the money for the project out of the pocket. We didn't even ask for it. We said, we would like to give it to you. The same way, the biggest donor and our supporter, Dr. Joshi, who has been in the community for a long time. He just had me 5 questions he asked me on it. What are you doing this for? Children. How are you going to teach the children? So he had his own way of asking questions to me. And when he supports, he said, okay, how much do you need? That's it, 1 word. All right, I'll send you the check. Over. So I just really want to say our Indian people are the most generous people that I know in the world. But you have to convince them it is for a good cause. So I want to thank every Indian out there. When they can give, they give. There are people at a certain stage in their life, they would be holding back on $20. Not that because they can't give. At that time, their priority is maybe the children is going to go to school, they save it. But they all remember one thing, what they owe. So the community project is like that. The people who are able to give money, they give the money. Our budget, 75% comes from donors. They think this project is going on, they'll walk in and give a check. 20% or 25% comes from the parents as a tuition. So that's also for us a beautiful thing to keep the place alive without really going and asking for money.
Thank you, Wayne. I agree with you. We have wonderful community members, not only in Dayton, but everywhere around the world, from our Indian communities who are very generous, whether it's with their money or their time. So thank you for your wholehearted support for YGIC and other initiatives. Even Bharat Media is always looking for sponsors. So if you like our program today or any other programs and you would like to sponsor, please do contact us. But again, thanks once again. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you youngsters first. It is so nice to have your fresh faces, brilliant minds sharing more about your journey. And we wish you nothing but the very best for all your endeavors in the future. You have made Wayne proud. You've made Lalita proud. You've made the whole Dayton community proud and Indians everywhere. So thank you again for your hard work and keep inspiring the younger folks, okay? Thanks for joining in. And thank you, Wayne and Lalita. Thank you for taking the time too. It was wonderful to hear about the journey of YGIC. So thanks so much for sharing about your own personal life as well as the journey with YGIC with all our members here today.
Thanks, Vijay. You're kind and you did a wonderful job.
Thank you. My pleasure. It is absolute pleasure. So now, going back to our audience members, thank you so much for connecting today for another cause. And today's cause was educating our children and getting them more prepared for this world, imparting them Indian culture, tradition, values. And so I appreciate you tuning in. I hope you got some inspiration from this program. If you have more ideas, you're welcome to connect with our guest, Wayne, as well as please do message us, Bharat Media. So we have our email info@bharatfm.com. You're welcome to send me messages there. Just put my name, RJ Vijaya, in the subject line. You can contact me there. If you would like to know more about our programs, they are all very valuable programs, very interesting programs. Doesn't matter what you're interested in, we at Bharat Media have something for you. So please do visit our website, bharatfm.com, learn more about our programs there. And before I log off, I would like to also make a community announcement here, especially since we are talking about Dayton Indian community. There is a wonderful yoga and meditation camp next weekend, which is organized by the temple here. So if you visit the temple website, you have more information there. Please do go ahead and register online. Take advantage of the wonderful speakers and yoga teachers, meditation teachers. You will see me there as well. So my father, who is the founder of Utsahi Yoga, will be giving a short talk, and I will be there to teach a little bit of yoga, maybe demonstrate what I know and share my knowledge. So please be there. And if you go to Facebook, there is a Stay Tuned with Vijaya page there. If you like that, you will know directly from me what my next program is going to be about, and you can stay connected with me as well. Thank you once again to everybody for taking so much of your precious time today and tuning in to our program, Connect for a Cause.
Namaskar, Sat Sri Akal, welcome and adab. You are listening to Bharat FM, a one-of-its-kind, multilingual, eclectic provider of entertainment, information and news to Indian Americans. Headquartered in Cincinnati, Ohio, Bharat FM airs shows out of Cincinnati, Chicago and Phoenix. We take pleasure in our ability to cater to your bhakti, chusti, sfurti, shakti and masti needs with our audio and visual shows. Check out bharatfm.com for our online program schedule and archives. I'm sure the content will definitely tickle your senses. Tune in via the 24-hour web streaming on bharatfm.com or via the Bharat FM app. More information can be procured at 513-488-5070.
This is Bharat FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा भारत.
ये है भारत FM.
बजेगा भारत झूमेगा भारत.
See you all next time. Stay happy, stay safe, stay healthy.